You're watching Wish TV, your local news source. Now, News 8 at 5 continues.
Well, new at 5:30, a new chapter begins in the fight against the opioid epidemic.
Indianapolis leaders tonight will begin to work out how the city will use the money from a settlement with opioid manufacturers. News 8's government reporter Garrett Berquist tells us where that money will go.
This comes about a month after the Attorney General announced the state of Indiana would receive $507 million from the opioid settlement. We don't have a final figure for how much of that will go to the city of Indianapolis, but we're getting a pretty good idea where that money would go.
Even the current sum was no sure thing until this summer. That's because many cities had filed their own opioid lawsuits. It took until June for everyone to opt back into the main settlement.
It's going to be a nice asset to help us remedy some of the challenges that the opioid epidemic has provided.
Right now, Indianapolis leaders expect to receive more than $3.7 million. The City County Council tonight will introduce an ordinance to distribute that funding. The largest chunk would go to the coroner's office for additional deputy coroners and trauma services.
That was the biggest issue among most of the coroner's offices and medical examiner offices, is that they didn't have the money to do anything related to assisting and researching with the families and getting resources provided to those families.
The Office of Public Health and Safety would get about $800,000 for opioid reversal supplies and contracts with neighborhood partners.
We're looking at how to fund organizations that deal with these types of response crises, and the money would go towards those types of responses.
There's also more funding for recovery housing and naloxone for first responders. Mayor Hogsett says the city could end up with more settlement money than expected. That's because some opioid lawsuits have not yet been settled.
Tonight's council meeting begins at 7 o'clock. This is only the first step in the process. It still has to work its way through the council's full legislative process. At the City County Council building, Garrett Bergquist, Wish TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook.